we did a show. It's going back a few years now. You and I did a show about the history of annuities and how it really has been around for hundreds of years. This concept of paying out money over a period of time. And structurally, that's what annuities do. You can accumulate, put money in there, and have it pay out income. Originally, that's what they were set up for, is you put money in and then it kicks out monthly income. What gained popularity in the early 1900s, especially around the Great Depression, was because the banks were unstable. You had banks closing. Remember, financials were a mess prior to the Great Depression. And people were looking for a way that I don't need income, but I need a place to put my money. Fixed interest annuities really gained a lot of popularity and actually became safe havens because Babe Ruth pulled his money out the market. And where did he put it?
Fixed annuities, yeah.
Yeah, fixed interest annuities. So fixed interest annuities, meaning they're not needing income, so they're in deferral. We've not started income or distributions, because there's two things you can do. You can start distributions from annuity, or you can annuitize it, which means you're getting a payout for a specific period of time. Could be like the next 5 years, or the rest of your life, for example, or the rest of your life and your spouse's life. But that's in deferral. So we don't need income, so we're deferring. And for the longest time, that only option on deferral was interest. But came into the 90s, somebody had an idea. Well, instead of interest, why don't we just link it to, say, let me kind of be imaginative. Let's link it to the S&P 500. And let's get the growth based upon the upside of the market. So then what evolved from that was fixed indexed annuities. So now you have all kind of variations of that. Now, keep in mind, what backs this up? The reserves of the insurance company. For the most part, that's pretty solid history from doing that. So now you could grow it by deferral, by gaining interest, or linking to various indexes to get the upside of the market, because a fixed indexed annuity is not exposing you to downside because you're not investing in, you're just linking to. Novel concept. Hey, get the upside. Or you could do a combination of both. But you could also, at some point, you could say, hey, start sending me a check every month. Or let's annuitize and create an absolute income. I like the first twist on that is at some point I want to start getting distributions out, because I don't have to annuitize to take income. But I can take a portion of my assets and kind of protect it by structuring it that way. And where, from an asset class, where would I probably like to place that return wise? Probably somewhere maybe between bonds and equities. Equities, historically have pretty good returns, but why? Because they have to make up market losses. Bonds are fairly consistent, and you can have bond strategies inside of a fixed index annuity. You could link to bonds as well, but it's a way of taking risk off a portion of your assets. And I'm one that believes you should have a blend, and I think that should be in the mix.
You mentioned this comes from insurance companies, and it was eye-opening to me working on the show that fixed annuities are the opposite of life insurance. They come from the insurance world, but they solve the opposite problems that life insurance does.
That's kind of a good way to define it. Is life insurance protects you from dying too soon, your family. And annuities protect you from living too long, because they can guarantee income keeps coming in.
Well, on the
mailbox money. You ever heard of that? Mailbox money? A lot of people have it. We used to always get checks in the mail. You ever get a check in the mail anymore, James?
We did the found money with the state treasurer, and he sent us 2 checks.
You got some mailbox money.
We did, yeah. It's a rare thing. It's once a year, really. But also, when we talk about how it's to protect you from living too long, financially speaking, the risk against living too long, you're still not a big fan, and many of the callers that call in on the show, of taking the life option. You're more of a period certain guy when you choose your payout options.
Well, and that's really because I'll tell you what people dislike is the life option, meaning if I die, the rest of the money doesn't pay out. Poof, it's gone. Yeah, that's a life income option. It's like the pension. What does people dislike about pensions? Well, we turn it on, and I'll do spousal continuation. If I die, she keeps getting it, but then she dies, and it doesn't pay out the rest of the money. No, it stops there. People don't like that end. They kind of want that absolute that all the assets are going to pay out. So, and the pensions count on people dying early, leaving money to cover the other pension obligations. And that's the way it works. But I like the period certain as well as most people. I want the absolute payout. So when I say period certain, if I chose a 30-year period certain, that check is paying every month for the next 30 years. I could die year 10, but it's paying for the next 30 years. That is what a period certain does. It keeps paying